Zane Clodfelter with Otters TV here with Evansville Courier Press sports writer Gordon Engelhardt. And Gordon, obviously, thanks for joining us here today. And as we have a second virtual Bossy Field experience, and I know you've spent a lot of time at the ballpark in past years.
Yeah, I just want to show you. Can you see my Otters Cup? That's after they won the championship. I found that. I had a 2006 winning T-shirt, but I can't find it. It's pretty tattered anyway, so you probably just as well.
Right. So obviously you've been in Evansville for a long time, covering various levels of athletics. I'm sure you've been asked this a ton since COVID started, so why not ask you one more time? What does a sports writer write about when there literally aren't any sports being played?
Well, since I'm old, I've written about a lot of old guys, and I dug up Jeff Goldbach, and we can talk about the 2006. That was great. As you remember, he was a second round draft pick of the Chicago Cubs, which means they expect you to make the show.
Right.
And he just, for whatever reason, he couldn't hit, high quality minor league pitching. But he comes down to the Otters at the end of his career, and suddenly he's like Babe Ruth. I don't know, you were probably a little kid then, but it was great to watch him. And then they won the championship. And as you know, it was just, 46-50, a quirk and how they did the playoffs. Then they get hot and they win it all for the first time.
And I know recently you did, talk with Jeff Goldbach for a story that ran in the Courier and Press. Did you learn anything about him, just doing that story and talking with him then that you didn't know about him when he played for Evansville in the late 2000s?
Well, one thing that I asked him about, I said, how did you get so hot? And he just basically said it wasn't, no offense to the Frontier League, but it wasn't a matter of being hot. It was just that, the quality of pitching wasn't as good, and he got locked in and he was even better in 05 than he was in 06 when they won it.
And then you were also, a big part of the coverage for the Courier Press here locally for Bosse Field Centennial celebration that took place during the 2015 season. All the dignitaries there, I know you talked to a lot of them. Are there any special moments or memories or stories that you heard from some of those dignitaries that still stand out to you, 5 years later?
Oh, talking to Jim Leland, I've had the good fortune of talking to Don Mattingly. Of course, he wasn't there because he was managing, but Bob Greasy several times at Night of Memories. And he always, every time he comes back to Evansville, he comes to Bosse Field and just soaks up the history. That's the thing that I love about it. And I got a chance to talk to Jim Leland before on the phone and in person. And I caught a little flack that, I was just trying to say, Bossy Field, it's more about the history. It's not like this gleaming cathedral.
Right.
On what side of town is that anyway? It's not the west side. It's not downtown, whatever side of town you want to call it.
I consider it the south part of the north side of town.
Right. But there's just something special, and it's just so corny to say this, but when we had different deadlines, we'd cover games on deadline at night. I'd finish my story and I'd go down the steps and I would just look onto the ballpark and just it sounds, like I said, it sounds corny, but just try to soak up the history for a few minutes. And he was saying, Jim Leland said that it's like a kind of comfortable as an old shoe, but he meant that in a good way. Because there's just something special about Bossy Field.
And I still wear my old shoes because they are comfortable and they've
already
been molded to my feet, right?
Right, absolutely.
And Gordon, when I first started doing public address work, even before the Evansville Otters, I was doing some of the sectionals and regionals for 4A announcing when I was in college. And a lot of times you were the Courier and Press writer, who was assigned to Bossy Field to cover all those games. Considering that a lot of prep players in Evansville and then throughout, Southern Indiana have played here in the postseason, are there any players, covering high school games that have gone on and done crazy, things and really good things at the minor league or even major league level that you can think back to?
Well, it's odd. It's I've done a lot of stories on Aaron Barrett and Jared Eichhoff, who, of course, both made the majors, but I don't really remember covering them in high school. Isn't that crazy?
Right.
But I remember covering Aaron Barrett when he pitched for Eugene Pate at a Braun Stadium at UE when they hosted a Great Lakes Regional. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just those are the two that stand out, but I don't remember covering them in high school. I know also in Legion Ball, and Josh Fagley, who made the Cubs, I covered him in Legion Ball, and he made the Cubs final cut this year. Of course, should we talk about the Cubs since we're Cardinal fans?
No.
It's okay, right? It's opening day. We're all happy today.
No, we're very happy. And plus, the Cardinals are the defending NL Central champions. So it's okay to talk about the Cubs when they aren't the reigning division title holders, right?
That always helps. They should have made some more moves in the offseason, but it's like this year is like, I don't want to say I don't care. I'm just happy to see baseball in whatever shape or form and just hope they contend, you know?
Right.
Just glad to see that they're playing again.
Exactly. And then, Gordon, in your lifetime, and I know, you've seen a lot of different things over the span of your life and all the experiences that you had. Did you ever envision a scenario outside of a major world conflict like a World War III that would not allow us to play baseball?
No. I mean, I'm old, but I mean, obviously I wasn't old enough to be around during World War II. I mean, they played baseball during World War II. It's like a lot of the best players were playing, were serving in the military, but they still had baseball. Yeah, I never, we weren't around, 1918, that lasted for like a year and a half. And
right.
I can't even, it's just crazy to even contemplate, but, we don't want to say we take it for granted. It's just an odd time, and I'm just glad sports are happening. And it's just good to see. The cat just walked in front of me. Oh well. To see the Bossy Field press box. I've spent so many times through the years the cat is attacking me. Oh well.
I love it though, because this is how we go viral, Gordon. This is how we get more hits.
Good. Hopefully that everybody will see this.
What's the cat's name, by the way?
Apricot, because he's orange.
I like it. It. Okay. And then finally, I do want to ask you just what are going to be your feelings next year when you walk into Bossy Field for the first time, whether it be to take in a game or whether you're, doing prep work for one of your next feature stories. What are going to be those feelings when you walk back into the ballpark after this long layoff?
Well, it's kind of like what I said, is just to walk out onto the field and just soak up the history. I was fortunate enough, you guys let me throw out a first pitch last year, and that was a lot of fun, reliving my glory days, sort of, at least for one pitch from, being a pitcher many years ago. And it's just, like I said, it's just something special seeing the bricks and, Hank Greenberg and Chuck Klein and Burt Blyleven, the 84 Detroit Tigers, Parrish, Gibson, Jack Morris, all played there. I mean, it's just like the ghosts of Bossy Field are there. It's just a lot of fun. I just love, and the thing is, it is so sturdy. I mean, we've had tornadoes, you name it, and nothing is going to knock Bossy Field down except a wrecking ball. Let's hope that never, ever happens.
6-7 years ago, Evansville hosted the GLVC tournament at Bossy Field, and I was behind the microphone for that. And it was a Friday, and then later that night, the Otters had their Jacobs Village exhibition game, and that's when we got hit by, I think the meteorologists call it a microburst or a macro burst. And you could feel the stadium shaking. All the fans in the stands went to the bathrooms, and I, was so fearful that I hid underneath my table up here in the press box. And then once the clouds cleared and the sun came out, I realized if there's ever an apocalyptic, type situation, I wanted to come here, because if it could survive those, what seemed like 100-mile-an-hour winds, then it can survive anything, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to give a plug for Bill Bussing. What a great guy that 2001, the JC family sold the team. If it wasn't for him, there may not be Otters baseball. Who knows what would have happened with Bossy Field. So he's a great guy and deserves a plug.
You're a great guy too. And the reason why Gordon got to throw out the first pitch last year is because you're a Hall of Famer. So you gotta give the Hall of Famers their due, right?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And you said that Andy Mack doesn't normally catch for anybody.
He doesn't.
So I felt that, that was an honor and a privilege. And again, like I talked about Bussing for a second, it was great to see him, with 2010, became the manager. They had a revolving door after what happened with Jelks, and of course, it was so sad that he passed. But anyway, they had a revolving door of managers, and then Andy Mack came, made the team solid, won again, and of course, your buddy Pat Hickey covered most of those games. I didn't really get to see the postseason because I was covering high school football then, but Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Glory days, as they say.
Well, Gordon, thanks a lot for taking the time to chat with us here for our virtual game. And I'm sure all the readers are looking forward to the next stories that you have coming up in our Evansville Courier and Press. But safety and all the health to you as we continue to go on during these normal times.
Yes, thanks a lot.
He's Gordon Engelhardt of the Courier and Press. I'm Zane Clodfelter. This has been Otters TV.